George Diamond Steakhouse. At one time, he had several restaurants and a golf club here, and one in Palm Springs. 512 South Wabash, 1133 South Wabash. This one was in Palm Springs, California, 2095 North Indian Avenue. And this was the golf club that was in Antioch, Illinois. There's no remnants of this left. In fact, I believe it's either a farm or a state park. I went looking for it once. Take a look on the inside. Shrimp cocktail for $1.50. Shrimp appetizer for $1.75. Home-fed steer steaks. Baked in our own designed charcoal ovens, and that's true. Our clean Dakota steaks. Cattle buyers turn to the finest in the beef. So this was the menu. Here was again the addresses. Now I work at this one, and by the time it's a long story. I just moved back from Las Vegas to open a restaurant. A friend of mine was opening a restaurant. He called me back from Vegas. I came back here. Very fine dining, very high posh, jet set type restaurant. This guy was known for him. He's a great guy. I love him to this day. But anyway, in the dead of the night, the restaurant closed. I was going to work on the train, and as I was getting off the train at Chicago Avenue, all the busboys from the restaurant were getting on the train, and they asked me where I was going, and I said, well, I'm going to work. It was a Friday night. And I started laughing, and told me it's closed, and I thought they were kidding, or I went over there anyway, and sure enough it was. So I didn't dare go back home with my wife and young kids and tell them that I no longer had a job, so I started walking around. It was about 3 in the afternoon, and I went down to Wabash, and the woman that was running this place was cavernous, a huge building, and if you went in the dining room, there was like 3 dining rooms that probably held 150 people each. It was just huge, and it had a big barbecue pit in the middle of each one. Well, this woman had the front of the restaurant with one barbecue like from the front of one of the dining rooms, and she had those oriental screens all the way across the dining room. So really she was just using like the front 500 feet that was probably at one time the bar where people waited for their table. And that was the whole restaurant with some tables set up and everything. She had said that she was one of the original waitresses, or somebody was, but one of the waiters that worked there with me told me that she just bought it at an auction with the building and everything, and she was just trying to make a go of it. But it was a shell of its former self. Certainly wasn't like it was back in the day. But she was nice enough to hire me, and it worked for a while, until I could get another job in fine dining, and I didn't have to go back and tell everybody that I was unemployed. This menu did not come from there. I actually got this menu at an auction. This postcard is also from an auction. This is the postcard that they used to have available at the front. But this one has the 630 South Wabash Avenue, which I believe was opened in the 70s. Supposedly he had one in Acapulco, Mexico. I don't know. I have a book of matches also. George Diamond Steakhouse. I peeled the matches out, and I had this in a frame. And then I have an ashtray. George Diamond charcoal broiled steaks, Palm Springs, California, Chicago, and Antioch, Illinois. Antioch, Illinois is an awfully small town. It's odd that they would use, and in those days it would have been man, the end of creation for most people in Chicago. Antioch is almost the Wisconsin line, way up north, and it's just a little bitty town even to this day. So it's odd that they would use that, but I mean, I guess. But anyway, George Diamond was a cool place. He was a cool cat. So I'm interested in the history, and I was fortunate enough to work at the George Diamond Steakhouse. And unfortunately, that building, which was also I want to say it was one of Louis Sullivan designed building, called the Wirt Building. Anyway, in 2006, I believe, it burned to the ground, and it was lost. So there's nothing left now. It's just another memory, another historical building up in smoke and gone forever. Thank yous for watching, and I appreciate it. See you next time. Bye-bye.